Hello, EscapePod listeners, and welcome to another EscapeBite, a mini-sode where we take a bite into a bit of true crime. I'm Julie.
I'm Charity.
And as we prepare to record today, many Americans are preparing for 4th of July fun. Do you like fireworks?
Well, think of our first episode.
So yes.
Well, okay, yeah.
Like the big displays or setting them
I
up.
like them. I don't seek them out like, oh, I can't wait to see fireworks. I do enjoy them.
Okay.
I don't buy them anymore. The only time I don't like them is when I'm trying to sleep and it's like a week after the 4th of July and neighbors are still like, let's go to there. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can think of some things to do with a couple bottle rockets that probably would get me in trouble. So
Indeed they would. Well, I can appreciate a good fireworks show.
Yeah.
I decided really what I like is like when the music, like the big ones where like music matches.
Yeah, that's the best.
Those are the best. Yeah. Those are pretty fun. I'm a fan of those. I did not grow up. We did not live in a place where I know in town here you can't either, but like literally being like in the national forest, basically.
Yeah.
I don't even remember a lot of other people. The people I knew who would
a lot.
Go shoot them off would do so like they had friends out on the prairie somewhere or by a lake. Like my one friend, they always had somebody by a lake that they would shoot them off there. And I'm like, okay. But like my sister and I as adults one day were like, are we the only people who have not shot off fireworks on the 4th of July? We're pretty sure we are because we haven't. But I do like the big shows.
All my babysitting money because I lived out in the valley.
Mm-hmm. That's a very popular place.
The fireworks stands and get the sales things and figure out my plan of attack and go buy a big bag of stuff. And we'd light that trailer court up.
They're still doing that these days.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing has changed, really. So here's the thing, though. We are not the only ones who commemorate holidays with fireworks, of course, here in America. Our friends across the pond, the Brits in the United Kingdom, have a rather unique holiday in the fall called Bonfire Night. And along with bonfires, fireworks are often a major part of the festivities. But let's just say for the purposes of this podcast that one UK community in particular became known for having not so much fun with fireworks. So we'll get to that in a moment. But first, what is Bonfire Night? I'd never heard of this.
No idea, no. And I watch a lot of BBC stuff.
Oh, yeah. You might then, there may be pieces of this that you do know about, but the holiday probably not. Okay. It is celebrated on the 5th of November each year. And to be quite frank, it is a very anti-Catholic affair. Huh?
Is it Guy Fawkes?
It is Guy Fawkes. You do know a little bit.
I remember the 5th of November.
Yes, there's a whole nursery rhyme. Yeah. I couldn't bring myself to anyway. But it is a very anti-Catholic kind of holiday. But the Catholics in this story, to be fair, if they had succeeded, they would be known as mass murderers. So there is that. Any hoodle, Bonfire Night is also known as Guy Fawkes Night, Fawkes. I know it might sound like something different. It's Fawkes.
You went there. Oh, my God.
It marks the date in 1605 when a group of Catholic conspirators, including Guy Fawkes, intended to blow up Parliament. November 5th was their state opening, and King James I, the Queen, and his heir were all supposed to be in attendance and ultimately would have been killed. James I did not like Catholics. They'd had high hopes that because his mother had been Catholic, that he would be more tolerant, but he was not. Religious persecutions continued against Catholics, and the conspirators believed that by killing the king and those closest to him, they would be able to return England to a Catholic state. But someone tipped off the authorities, and Guy Fawkes, who was a munitions guy from his military days, was caught. So from the historic, it's called the Historic Royal Palaces website. This is what it said. Royal Guards searched the House of Lords at midnight, and in the early hours of 5 November, Fawkes was discovered in the cellars with a fuse, a small lamp, a box of matches, and 36 poorly hidden barrels of gunpowder.
Oh, where were they in his?
You can imagine. I mean, must have been quite the deal getting those in there, right?
White man or?
So the one website I found said he was quite a good-looking man in those times, for what that's worth. As you can imagine, Fawkes and friends were punished. A few were killed prior to being arrested, but those who were arrested were convicted of treason, imprisoned, tortured, and executed. Per the HRP website, their fate was grisly. This is gross.
Oh, I'm sure.
On 31 January 1606, so just 2.5 months after the event, one of our recent episodes we talked about the length of, investigations and prosecution and defense and all of that. This was like 2 months. They were dragged behind a horse along the streets of London to Westminster Yard, where one by one they were hanged, drawn, and quartered.
Hanged and drawn and quartered.
Right? I mean, because one thing wasn't enough.
So are you dead before you're drawn and quartered?
I know. I feel like
you hang and they don't kill you. They're just like
maybe
you. And then drawn and quartered.
It didn't
that
go into.
Who the hell thought of that? That is a special kind of
right
torture. Can you imagine?
No.
Oh my God.
So Guy actually was on his way to the gallows, but was so weak from the torture that he fell from the ladder and died. So he actually wasn't hung. He didn't get there, basically.
Wow.
So since the plot was thwarted and the Protestant King James remained on the throne, people in the UK have for many, many years celebrated Guy Fawkes Night or Bonfire Night with bonfires, fireworks, and other festival-type fun. One site said this is becoming less common, but traditionally they'd burn Guy Fawkes in effigy. So they would have like straw puppets that they would burn in the bonfire that were supposed to be Guy.
Oh, wow.
Right? I mean, that is a tradition we can let go of. You're with me. We are on the same page here. I'm like, no, we don't do that. Okay, so at times the use of fireworks on Bonfire Night has been more felonious than fun, as was the case in St. Paul's, an inner suburb of Bristol, England, in 2002. It was so bad that law enforcement did this whole big assessment and report they titled Tackling the Use of Fireworks as Weapons, and they called it Operation Hercules.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is no joke. Okay, just to give you an idea of what was said to have taken place in this suburb on and around Bonfire Night in 2002, the first paragraph of the report states, historically, during the Bonfire Night period, the community of St. Paul's, Bristol, has experienced escalating disorder involving gangs of masked youth using fireworks as lethal weapons. Whilst most communities have suffered from the low-level misuse of fireworks, what marked out this disorder as unique within Great Britain was the type of firework used, namely the largest available to the public, designated Category 3, designed for large displays.
Whoa.
Hundreds of these multi-barreled, multi-shot fireworks designed to throw projectiles high into the air were fired handheld at short range directly at passers-by, police and firefighters, as well as into residents' houses and cars.
When was this?
2002.
Holy crap.
Right? So community members compared it to living in a war zone.
Yeah.
Yes, I know.
Prettier.
Fair. Bright colors.
Ba-dum-bum.
People were shocked that nobody was killed. Nobody was killed.
Are you kidding?
I mean, it's a miracle, in my humble opinion. The report cites a letter published in a local paper. This is the quote. The ordinary people of St. Paul's were left terrified when 3 gangs of masked drug dealers were allowed to run amok in the streets, launching industrial-sized fireworks at each other and any other targets, including cars and innocent bystanders. 200 rioting men subjected the people of St. Paul's to an intense firework battle from dusk until 4 a.m. People were not safe in their own homes. People reported fireworks being fired through letterboxes and wheelie bins set on fire. The report also says that vans toured the area, resupplying the youths with fresh stocks of fireworks.
It was that.
This is serious.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Thus, the chaos continued for hours until a large number of officers in full protective gear were deployed. That's what it took. So basically, these are riots.
FRT, Fireworks Response Team. Sorry.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I mean,
yeah, these were like street fights and riots, but with fireworks as the weapon of choice.
no,
Bizarre.
okay, this makes me look like a little angel.
Oh, I would say so.
See my
Yes.
halo?
Let's not get carried away. So this type of upheaval apparently had been escalating for years, really coming to a head in November of 2002. And so the police, with the assistance of consultants and various partners, tried to take some proactive steps in the off season, if you will, so between these holidays, to quell the chaos in the future. So they assessed, they analyzed, they created an action plan that included 3 major components. 1, changing perceptions. People had come to expect the disorder. So authorities wanted to make very clear that disorder would not be tolerated.
Okay.
So they did this with a high-profile media campaign, school engagement, diversionary events, and by working with retailers. Number 2, which is probably one of the best things they did, removing the threat. So they lobbied hard for legislation to prevent the general public from being able to purchase these higher-powered fireworks. To me, this is like
common sense.
common sense.
Yeah.
So I mentioned they were like category 3. I think in one place I read there are only 4 categories of fireworks in the UK, and category 3 could be sold to me and you. You with your bottle rocket habit.
Habit.
Any hoodle. And number 3, keeping the peace. So they created a multi-agency operation to deal effectively and rapidly with offenders. And it seemed to have worked. So the same report says that in 2003, that year was the first year in recent history the anticipated disorder failed to occur in any form or at any time. So, I mean, a mere year later, they had really kind of squashed these crazy antics. How nobody was killed really is a miracle.
Oh, that's wild.
But I knew nothing about Guy Fawkes, and I knew nothing about some of these things. It's bizarre.
I watched a couple of movies that are centered around Guy Fawkes, and from my interpretation, he was really seen as like a hero.
By some, sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't think like some of those kings and queens were not the best of people. And so rebellions were not uncommon, and they were being persecuted. I mean, you can imagine there's a whole reason we celebrate the 4th of July is part of the reason they came to America was looking for religious freedom. Right. So, yes, I can imagine, but they weren't completely innocent peeps either. No. Any hoodle. Fireworks and Fawkes. That's my EscapeBite today.
Well,
did you learn something new?
Now I'm wondering, like, because it does keep getting worse out in the valley.
I do feel
I might have to tell my husband, you guys are going to need an FRT pretty soon.
I do feel like, for the most part, people really do want to see them up in the air where they're meant to be. So
not coming at your head or through your front door
or into your car when you're a random bystander. Yeah. This goes in the it could be worse file, right?
Yeah.
All right. That's our EscapeBite. That's all I got.
Thanks, Julie.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.